Okay, so we are going to start our 24-hour reading challenge. And when I say we, I mean me and my sister, Nancy. We are going to be reading a couple of books. So Nancy gave me some parameters. She said no fantasy because she's like that. But we decided we were going to read The City of the Lost by Kelly Armstrong. And we're going to try to read Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. We're going to try to fit this into a 24-hour reading challenge. Now, I've seen a couple different ways of doing 24-hour reading challenges. Some people will set a timer and start, and 24 hours is 24 hours. But I'm an old lady, and I'm not staying up at night. It's not happening. So I have decided to split this into two 12-hour days. We are starting at 9. It's a little after 9 now, but we're going to start now, and we're going to go until 9 today, and we're going to go from probably 9 to 9 or 8 to 8 or something like that tomorrow, and do 24 hours combined of reading and try to fit both of these books in. We're going to see if we can read both of these books in that amount of time. So we will be checking in and telling you about our progress, talking about our reactions to the books and so on. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're taking a bit of a break. We had to take, my sister has 3 pretty big, good-sized dogs, and it was grooming day for them today. So we had to take a break to go grooming. That's Freya. She's upset because she thinks she's being left out. Anyway, we're taking a small break to do this. I'm about 6 chapters into City of the Lost. I'm enjoying it. So far, it does not seem like my sister is to the same degree, but hopefully that will change. So we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to get back to it. Okay, my sister Nancy, and I just want to ask, so right now we're working on City of the Lost by Kelly Armstrong. How far into it are you?
Hold on. I don't do, like, memorizing chapters, so give me a minute. I'm at right before chapter 5.
And so far, what are your thoughts?
I'm really hoping it gets better. I'm not loving the character. I don't feel like I like this author. I've read other books of hers, but I feel like she's not working hard enough to bring the two main characters are supposed to have this best friend relationship, but I'm not feeling it. Like, she needs to work harder on a bond there, because she's expecting me to believe this person's going to leave everything for this girl, and I'm not feeling it.
So we having hopes for better later into it?
I mean, I hope. Yeah. If you want me to keep reading it.
Any other thoughts you want to put on camera before we get back to reading?
No.
Okay. So my feelings on the book are a little bit different than Nancy's. At this point, I'm a little bit further, but only just a little bit. I'm into chapter 7. But I like the way things are going a little bit better. I also knew what to expect, though, because this is a reread for me. But I remember reading, when I read it the first time, I liked that it was a little more of a fast-paced story. And it is. It's not a long story. It's a little more fast-paced. The main character, Casey, she is not a terribly emotional person. It's not that she doesn't have emotions, but she's kind of, I do think the author has kind of written her a little stereotypical for a detective. She has a very analytical way of thinking about things, and her mind, she's processing this is that, and that's it, like with her detective mind or whatever, almost a little bit like Sherlock Holmes or something, and she's not Sherlock Holmes. So there is a little bit of that, but she doesn't react with emotion so much as she reacts with her analytical mind. That is kind of a trademark of this character. But I see what Nancy's saying. I don't necessarily have the same reaction, but she's looking at it with a lot fresher eyes than I am, because, like I said, it's a reread. So, but we're going to get back to it. Okay, so we've gotten further into the book. How you feeling now? Any better?
I like the book better now. Still don't connect real well with the character, but the storyline's better. I think that the author really tried to speed through before she got to the city, and that was an issue for me. So, yeah, I like it better. I will keep reading. See, maybe I might read the second.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so I would estimate that I'm about a third the way through the book or so. I'm listening to an audiobook, and it's harder to guesstimate that, but I like the book, but this is a reread for me. I'm liking it from the beginning, or I better understand the character from the beginning. But there are certain characters in this book that I really don't like. And we're getting to the reason why I really don't like them. But the best friend, I don't like the best friend. Her best friend is a spoiled brat, and that kind of adult spoiled brat, that irritates me. So I'm at that point, but I am enjoying the book. I do love, we've gotten to the new town, which I'm not sure why they call it City of the Lost, not Town of the Lost, because it's not a city. But I do love, it's an isolated area, and I like those stories. I find that I like those stories where we're in an isolated area, very little outside interference, and it's a microcosm. And I like microcosm stories, particularly microcosms that are kind of mysteries. There's a mystery going on, sort of. So I like all that. So I'm still enjoying it, and looking forward to getting a little bit more in. I want to read further on, but I'm trying to remember who done it, and I don't remember who done it. So it's good that I'm rereading it. I will appreciate that more when I get into the second book. So we'll check back later. Hello. Okay, sorry for the weird lighting. I'm at my sister's table, and the light's right there, but you get to see me in all my glory. So it is now 9 p.m. We started the reading at 9-ish in the morning, and so it was supposed to be from 9 to 9, but we started a little late because we're sisters who like to talk, and we chat with each other and so on. And that's kind of what has happened with the last hour that was supposed to be reading time, is that we got onto a conversation about politics and stuff. And then we just talked for like the last hour and haven't been reading. So we're going to give a little bit more time to reading, and then see what's up. We may go longer than 12 hours today, because both of us are feeling like we could go for longer, but probably not a heck of a lot longer, because if we screw up our sleeping schedules for the weekend, it's going to be harder during the week to get back on task. So we're going to read for a little bit longer and see where we go from there. I am about 5 hours left on my audiobook, so it won't all get done today unless I want to stay up until like 3 in the morning or so, and I do not. So we'll see how far we get into it tonight, and then see how far we get into the second book tomorrow, after we finish the first book. I do not think we're going to finish the second book, but we're going to give it our best. We're going to see how far we can get into it, and then I may have to read more of it on Monday or whatnot until I'm finished with it. So that's where we are right now. I'm still enjoying the book. Sister says that she is enjoying it more. She says maybe she'll go on to the next book. Maybe. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how she feels. We'll get her views on it a little bit later. Maybe when we wrap up for the night or when we start again tomorrow morning. Okay, we're going to get back to it. Okay, so it's getting late and we're going to wrap it up for tonight. But final thoughts and feelings on the book so far?
I'm really starting to like the book. I think I'm at like 40% right now. So I probably will need all of tomorrow to finish it. I really like Dawson. He's one of my favorite characters. He's super interesting. And I like the dynamic between him and our main character, Casey. I'm starting to like Casey better.
Dalton, you mean?
Dalton,
Yeah,
sorry.
That's okay.
I'm starting to like Casey better. I still sometimes struggle with her thought process. And because she's the one explaining everything, because it's in first person, that's a bit annoying. I'm not a big fan of first person books. I feel more like I'm not reading a story, but I'm being told something. And I don't like that. But I like Anders. I'm really hoping he's not going to be a bad guy, because I like him. I'm really curious to know more about Diane. What happens with her. Don't like her, but I want to know what's going to happen. There's like another storyline happening there, but there's not enough on it for us to know right now. That's about it. At this point, though, I like the book enough that I would read the second. But I guess I gotta see how it ends first. But I'm already looking forward to the next book in the series.
So, true or false? As soon as I leave, you're going to continue reading the story.
I'm gonna continue reading. I'm not tired yet, and I'm hooked onto it. And since I don't watch TV, reading is all I do. So I can't start another book when I'm in a book. That would be a problem for me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm gonna continue reading, but hopefully that means I'll actually finish it tomorrow.
Okay, well then we will check back in tomorrow. Okay, so as I mentioned, it is a little past 10 o'clock. We went a little bit over because we stopped to talk for a little bit, like we do. I probably also am gonna go home and read more. So we're not obviously adult enough to stick to our own rules, but whatever, it's my channel. I can make whatever rules I want to. So, but we're going to keep reading a bit, but I'm going to do that at my place so that I don't stop her from going to sleep when she needs to, and so on.
You're not the boss of me.
And I'm not the boss.
Do whatever I want.
She can do whatever she wants. She tells me so. This is why everyone believes she's the older sister, because she's brattier. But anyway, we are going to sign off for tonight, and we'll check back in tomorrow and let you know what our progress is like, and let you know if we actually get to the second book. I think we will get to the second book, but I do not think either of us will finish the second book. But that's okay. If it takes us a couple more days, we're really just looking to dedicate this time towards reading, talking about it with each other. Reading the same books means we can chit-chat about it and stuff. And so if we go over the 24 hours, if we're doing it a little differently, the goal is for us to read and for us to have fun. And I think we both are doing both of those things. So we'll check it back in tomorrow. Okay, good morning. It is Sunday. It is stupidly early for two people who stayed up until well past 1 o'clock to read. But we are having breakfast. We're going to do a reading breakfast, and then we're going to go back to Nancy's and keep trudging on. We are at a point now to where we need to make a decision about whether or not we're going to continue on with this series or read the planned book that we had set up to read. And I'm not sure. I'm like 2 hours away from finishing this book, and I don't know which book we're going on to next. So we need to discuss. Okay, so here we are back at my sister's house, and we just went on a reading breakfast where we did no reading. Next time I go on a reading breakfast, I'm going to have to do it with someone I like less than my sister, because we just chatted the whole time. That's just kind of what we did. And we listened to some very loud, annoying woman there, and we decided that there wasn't going to be any focus at all to be able to read. So we came back here. So we have decided now that we are skipping the book that the book plan we originally had. Originally, we were going to read Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter after this book, but that's just not going to happen. That doesn't work for my sister. She is ready to move on to the second book in this series. So that's what we're going to do. I don't remember the name of the second book. It's something like Absolute Darkness or something like that. I will get the title when we get there. I have a couple hours to go left on this book, and then we will be checking in, and hopefully it won't be too long for Nancy to finish, so that way we can see what her feelings are about the end of this book. Talk to you later. Okay, I think I've gotten to the stage where I'm if I were reading this with my eyes, I'd be reading until my eyes cross. As it is, I am listening to it with an audiobook, but there's still a fatigue that happens when you overdo that. So I need to move around and stuff. I've got about 44 minutes left, a few chapters left at the end. But I want to go and see what Nancy's response is to where she's at right now. Okay, so you're about, 70% the way through or so?
68%.
So close. And where are we at right now with the story? Like, not where are you with the story, but how are you enjoying the story at this point?
I'm intrigued. I feel like there's another story on top of a story, but they could be related. I don't know. But I'm intrigued. I want to finish it. I want you to quit bugging me.
Oh, rude. So, just tell a little story about Nancy tells her friend, hey, I'm reading this story, and it's actually getting kind of good. And then one of her friends went and did what?
Bought me the rest of them.
There's like 7 books in the series, and he's like, you need this in your life, and there you go. So I guess we're continuing on with this series, at least for a while longer. But, so you want me to just leave you alone? So okay, I'll leave you alone so you can get to reading. Read up. Okay, you have finished the first book. Final thoughts on it?
I like the book. I, funny enough, did question who the killer. I did question that person, and then I was like, no, that can't be. And then ended up being the killer. But I questioned a lot of people, so then I feel like could have been anybody in the book at that point. Diane's an idiot.
Diana,
yeah, she's got some. She has some issues.
So you started out not really liking the book, and then it kind of grew on you. At the end, how many stars out of 5 do you think you'd give it?
A 4.
A 4 out of 5?
Yeah. Because I still think the beginning wasn't great. And there's some parts of it where she's still like, we're going to walk home. We walked home. Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of annoying.
And you've read this author before, so would you say it doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily as good as this author has done in the past, or?
The thing that's unfair about that is I read this author over 10 years ago, and I've gone through a lot of books in that time, and so it could be that I thought she's the greatest author ever, and she could have sucked. And I've just gotten a lot more books. I remember her past books being really great. So I don't know. But I did like this one. I did finish it, and I still gave it a pretty. We'll see how the starting of the next one is.
Okay, well, get to it. Start the next book. So I also finished the book. I finished it a little while ago. I'm already partway through the second book, and I probably would give it a 4-star also, but I didn't have as much problem with the beginning. Of course, as I've said before, this is a reread for me, so I sort of knew what to expect. But I really enjoyed many parts of it. There were a couple of parts where I kind of thought the author was maybe being a little lazy, or maybe because it's a smaller book than some of her other books, and it's a genre that she doesn't normally write. Kelly Armstrong writes a lot of supernatural stuff, and this isn't really supernatural at all. So I think trying to be in a different genre, trying to write a smaller book, I think there are parts that she kind of got lazy on. So I probably would still give it, I'd probably give it a 3.5 rounded up to 4, something in that vicinity. But I did like it. I did like the ending. I did think the ending was mostly satisfactory. Most of the people that I felt like I wanted to see them get their just desserts, they mostly did. So I would still say I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the reread. I probably enjoyed the reread more because I was reading it with my sister than doing the reread on my own. But I did enjoy it. And I am working on the next book, which is called A Darkness Absolute, and also by Kelly Armstrong, second book in the series. And so far, my impressions are I'm about 23 chapters in, and I am so far enjoying it. I feel like there's a lot similar vibes in the second book than in the first book, so I'm happy to. It's more of a continuation of the story. Though I do feel like sometimes the author sort of recategorizes her characters. Like when they look back on events that happened in the first book, they have an impression that doesn't seem to fit with what happened in the last book. So, I don't know, not entirely, but it just seems a little like when they're summing it up just a little wrong, feels like. Anyway, so more impressions as we go. It's a little after 6 o'clock right now, so we still have a few hours to read. We are not going to finish this book tonight, but that's okay. Maybe once Nancy is completely finished with the second book, I'll be able to get her opinion on the second book to shove into this this vlog before I post it. If not, then not, but we'll try for it. Okay, so you've been working on the second book. About how far into it have you gotten?
I'm only like 13% into this one. So just the beginning, I will say that it starts off better than the last one. Might be because I know the characters a little better. So that's not too bad. I still get a little bit annoyed with the I'm going to do something and then she says I did something.
Yeah, the first person point of view is not your favorite.
No, like I'm going to put on my socks because I'm cold. I put on my socks. Okay.
Right.
Right. There's a new mystery. I do like that. And I got to see Jacob. We're good.
Okay. So then we're going to sign off for the night. And I will try and get a feel for how you like the book once you finish it.
Cool.
Okay, so we are officially at, or just a little past our 24 hours. We started yesterday a little after 9 and went until a little after 10. And then both of us read more when we got home. And then today we started probably around 9 after our breakfast. And then it is about 9 o'clock now. So we did about 12 hours today. We did a little more than 12 hours yesterday. So we have surpassed the 24-hour time. I got a book and a half read because I think I'm pretty close. I'm like maybe 40% the way through this one. So about a book and a half read in this time period. And Nancy a book and the first, like she said, 13%. So I'm going to try and get this one finished up tomorrow and see if I can film what I thought overall. So far I'm liking it. There is a new mystery. There is a new there are some new characters which freshen things up a little bit, but there's enough of the old characters that it kind of still feels like the same old story and the continuation of the story in a good way. It feels like,
You're not starting over.
Like we're not starting over. Like we are familiar with these characters. We like these characters. We're glad we're continuing on with these characters. So
Except for Diana.
Except for Diana. Nobody likes Diana. So anyway, so we're going to wrap it up tonight. And I'll try to put some final thoughts in here. And I hope you enjoyed this vlog. And I hope to do more. Maybe vlogs, maybe just buddy reads. Because now that my sister's on this series, she's going to continue through it until she finishes it. So, which means I have to also. So, I will talk to you later. Okay, so it's been a little while since we read. Actually, I'm in April now, and all of that happened on the 18th and 19th of March. So I just wanted to add in a couple of end thoughts. I forgot to film an ending to the video, so a wrap up. So we did end up reading the first 2 books in the series for this challenge, but then we went on to read all 7 books. I think we read all 7 books in a week and a half. They're not terribly chunky books. They're only like 360 pages or something like that each. But I really wanted to finish the series. My sister was going to continue on without me if I didn't. And I had plans to read other things, but I pushed them off so that I could read this, so that we could continue the conversation back and forth, what we liked, what we didn't like, when new characters came in, and so on. Now, this series, the author just released an 8th book, which is kind of a spin-off. Well, I've heard 2 things. I've heard it's a spin-off of the first, and then I heard it's a continuation. I'm not sure. On Audibles, it does list it as the 8th book. So, take from that what you will. But I have not read the 8th book, but my sister did. She went on with it. But in April, as you may or may not know, I'm doing the Keymark readathon, the TBR Blitz readathon, and I just couldn't fit a mystery thriller in with my readathon. It's a sci-fi fantasy, or not primarily, exclusively actually. So I'm doing that, and I will go back to the Rockton series someday soon. I want to add, at the end of this, I'm going to add a clip of the books and their covers, so that if you're interested in the books, if you thought any of what we talked about sounded like fun, then you can look for them and pick them up yourself. I do definitely recommend them. Overall, I really enjoyed the series. Sometimes when a book series gets longer than 4 or 5 books, I'm sorry if you can hear my kid talking in the background, but sometimes when a book gets longer than 4 or 5 books in a series, it starts to get weird, or it starts to deteriorate from what it used to be, or just changes in a way that maybe isn't a bad change, but it's not really what you came to the series for. But I don't feel like that happened with the series. I feel like it stayed really true to the story that we started out with. So I really enjoyed it. I would definitely give the series a good rating overall. It's not generally what I read, but I really, really enjoyed the experience, and I hope that you will pick up the books and that you will enjoy the experience. So thank you for hanging out with me and my sister and listening to our thoughts on the matter, and making it, giving us the motivation to read 24 hours plus, and for just hanging in. If you've hung in throughout this whole video, I appreciate you very much. I hope you liked it. I hope you subscribe, and I hope you stick around for more. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.